Welcome, everybody, to the F4 Hunger Awareness Show.
It's my goal to feed 1 billion people before I die.
We want to bring awareness around the issue of hunger and food insecurity.
7 to 8 million people served so far. With the sole goal of eradicating world hunger by connecting sources of food to recipients in need. Fiorenza's Food for Friends.
Derek Fiorenza here with Fiorenza's Food for Friends, excited to bring you the F4 Hunger Awareness Show. Today we have a very special guest. They're always special, but today is going to be a good episode. We have Mr. John Montgomery, and John has started an organization called Catering With Purpose. So, John, welcome to the F4 Hunger Awareness Show.
Thank you, Derek. I'm glad to be here.
Well, we're really happy to have you, John, and there's a lot to cover. So I like to start most of these interviews early on, when you got started, growing up, what your passions were, what your inspirations were, and then as you went
Sure.
through school, what you did with your career, and then now what you're doing with Catering with a Purpose. So we'll come full circle, but talk about growing up. Where did you grow up? What was it like growing up, and what were some of your passions?
Well, when I grew up, I was one of 6 children. I was the second oldest. I have 5 sisters. All 5 of them to today are just amazing. Most of them live down in Florida. I have one in West Grove, Pennsylvania up here. My passion for what I'm doing goes way back when I was pretty much at church growing up when I was 7, 8 years old. I had this need to, at Thanksgiving, Christmas, the holidays, go to the church instead of being home to help being a busboy feeding the poor at the church. I don't know why. I just always did it. My parents didn't make me do it. I wanted to do it. And I think it was just always there. And it started very young. So that was when I was very young. I did that every year till, oh gosh, I was in high school, still doing it. And it was just part of me. And then I went into the business world. I had my own business for a long time. I was in the medical field. I always did random acts of kindness. I have a big passion for homeless. I always gave to the homeless. I educated people about the homeless, especially my family. One story is my first wife passed, and she was in a car accident, and I had a child with her. We went to the zoo after that. We came out. There was this homeless person there, and I gave him a $50 bill, I think, or something like that. And my son said, "What are you doing?" They're just going to spend that money on alcohol. And I looked at him right then. I said, "Rob, you're judging." I said, "You shouldn't judge. That person might need that fifth of vodka to just continue to the next day. You don't know why they're holding up that sign. They could have lost their whole family last week." And that's sort of like my mentality. I have a big passion. I stop in Philadelphia and talk to the homeless. I myself and one of my nephews used to go to Philadelphia with coffee, hot chocolate, and Chick-fil-A sandwiches. Thank you, Chick-fil-A. We appreciate it every time. And we used to feed the poor that were out there. We just walk around, just giving them hot chocolate and hot coffee and Chick-fil-A sandwiches. It was fun. I've never been scared of the homeless as some people are. Yep. They're people, and their life went in a different direction than they thought. They don't want to be homeless. And I've always had that passion for the homeless. But anyway, I went on a tangent there. But I was in the medical field. I had my own business my whole life, actually. Actually, the first W-2 I ever received from anyone else was when I helped a friend in a restaurant in Exton 2 years ago. I helped him just, learning the restaurant business, helping with the customers. And that's how I learned the restaurant business. So I retired when I was 60, and I sort of didn't know what retirement was or how you do it.
Yeah.
My wife still works. She works very hard. And I was just sitting at home. I found myself sitting at home. So I went and I had this buddy of mine. I helped him with his restaurant. I sort of saw the business. I saw how these small local business restaurant entrepreneurs and proprietors run their business and how hard they work.
Yeah.
They work hard. I'm talking about the small restaurants. They work hard. They get in at 6 o'clock. They end at 8, 9. It's their life, and they go out and do their own shopping, and it's crazy. I saw the good, bad, and the ugly of the restaurant business for over the last 2 years. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always had that mindset of seeing something and figuring out, or just something gets into my head where I can help somebody. I'll go back to that. I used to I called it, I never incorporated it or anything, but I was in a neighborhood in Exton, and I started something called Neighborhoods for Kindness. I would meet with homeowners associations in these developments, and every special holiday like Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, we even did it a few non-holidays, and we would go to all the homes and we'd have them participate with their children in getting food together to bring to the cupboards. We brought it to Lord's Pantry, Westchester Food Cupboard, and it was fun. I think the funnest part about it was bringing the kids of the homeowners. They educate the kids that this really exists. There's a problem out there. And that was fun. I did that several years. That was really a good time. And I really, really enjoyed it. So my goal after I succeed with Catering with Purpose, my mission, which I'll talk about in a second, is a company called 5D Community of Kindness. The 5D comes from our Lord and Savior, the fifth dimension. I give everything to Jesus. I thank him every morning. The clock behind me is set at 5:05 because that's when I wake up and I talk to Jesus. And that's basically why the clock isn't really a clock, but it is a clock, but it's set at 5:05. And I asked him to speak today. So I give him everything, and I'm doing this for him. So I just wanted to say that. So Catering with Purpose. So I talked to you about getting the education, working with my buddy who's still there, Banu Cafe in Exton, great place, great person, great food. And I saw him needing to get into the catering business, the corporate catering business. He didn't have hardly any of it. These larger restaurants pretty much have most of the corporate catering business. And I helped him. And then a year and a half later, I said, Bajan, that's his name. Yeah, there you go. That's him. That's him.
Banu.
That's him. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a good person. He's a really good person. And I said, Bajan, I can do more for you and more for other people getting out of this working at the front of the restaurant and doing deliveries for you. And I told him to try to hire somebody else. And basically, I started back in May, Catering with Purpose. The company exists for one reason, and only one reason. It's to help fight food insecurity in Chester County. That's the only reason it exists. I'm going to tell you how I make money. I partner with small local restaurants. I go in, I talk to them about their corporate catering, I talk to them about the mission, and I say, I'll go out and get you corporate catering business, bring it to your restaurant, and they give me a 15 to a 25% discount on my order. Okay. So that's how the money is captured in order to send it out to the charity. So let's talk about the 15%. I don't like taking too much money from the restaurants. They work very hard. They're on a very stringent budget. Their ratio of profit and loss is really tight. So I usually like 15. Some don't mind going to 20. I have a couple at 25, but let's talk about 15. Basically, I go out, get the corporate business. They order from Catering with Purpose. Right now, Derek, we talked about, I don't have a website, but it's so simple. I have a couple corporate accounts. It takes them a few minutes. I give them the menus that of the restaurants that are partnered with me,
Mm-hmm.
and they just email me what they need. And that's really simple. They send me the email. I take it from there. I order the food from the restaurant. I pay the restaurant the same day I pick it up. So they're happy. And I deliver the food to the corporation. Citadel Credit Union.
Yep.
I got to give them a thumbs up. They've been amazing with me. Emily at Citadel basically said, John, you do such a good job. I believe in your mission. Why would I order from anyone else? What Emily does, and I really truly appreciate this, if there's a restaurant that is not, if I'm not partnered with, and they have an order come in, they still send it to me. Thank you very much, Derek. They've been just unbelievable. I give them everything, kudos, everything. So anyway, Emily sends it to me. I produce the food, I deliver it, I invoice Citadel for the business, they pay me. Once a week on a Friday, I pay 10% of whatever that order total is to a local charity that's involved in food insecurity. The Food Bank of Chester County. I've given them charity contributions. Lord's Pantry in Downingtown, where I live, I've given them contributions. So my goal for the last 6 months is to see if the model that I'm anticipating putting out there aggressively would work. And the answer is yes, it works. The whole circle has been completed. If any of you guys want to see the work I've done up to this point, you can go to my LinkedIn page that Derek showed you, and you can look at my posts that I've posted throughout the last 6 months. They've been from the very start to getting my first order to getting a Thanksgiving order for 200 people. So it's been a journey. It's just the start of the journey, but it's been amazing the whole step of the way. It's just been amazing. So that's really what I do. I am looking for restaurants all the time. I am looking for corporations that want to come on board with the mission and with the purpose. And again, the purpose is one reason only we exist, is to help fight food insecurity right now in Chester County. Derek, like when you started your business, I know it's been a long time, I believe in 2012 or 13, might have even been before that. You have to start somewhere. And I'm starting with Chester County. Once I have the model formulated on how to grow it and how to succeed in Chester County, I'm going to move into Delaware County. It's going to be a lot easier because I already have the model. So I'm hoping by the summer I can move into Delaware County. That's my goal. So I appreciate any help. Derek, I know I'm very excited about being associated with F4. I think what you're doing there is amazing. And I'd like to talk to you about how I can help you. You're a charity. You're in the food insecurity business, and catering with purpose. That's one of our purposes. You're our purpose. Okay, so I'm looking forward to 2026.
It's amazing. So let's just take a step back and make sure I understand the model and so the
Yes.
audience understands it. So you reach out to restaurants or they contact you, and
Mhm.
essentially, if restaurants are not doing catering, then this gives them a whole nother line of business. But if they are doing catering, you're offering to do the delivery for them, right?
Mhm.
And then in turn, you're soliciting companies for events or whatever they might be. So you're basically providing them new opportunities that they might not have uncovered on their own. You're basically
Correct.
an outsourced marketing arm for them in some ways.
Yes. I
So
am a marketing. I am a marketing source for them.
so
And I charge, you might say, it's real simple. You might say I charge 15% for my marketing
it's
services.
like a brokerage fee. So you're
Correct.
working with the restaurant, and let's say the meal is $10, they're going to give it
Hmm.
to you for 750.
That's correct.
Whatever
That's
the ratio is,
that's
850,
correct.
15%.
Yeah,
850.
85, whatever. Yeah,
So
right.
then the other 150, then you have the ability then to charge to the companies.
That's correct.
So that's your margin. And then what you're doing is you're taking from that margin you're making, you're then donating 10% of it.
10% of that order, it could be $10, like you mentioned. It could be like the Thanksgiving order was 6,500. So that would be $650 goes to the charity. So it is a numbers game. You have to do a lot of business to
Yeah.
really show some good numbers, but I'm ready. I'm able, and
So
I have restaurants that are delicious.
I'm sure you do. So your
Yeah,
goal is to build out an inventory or database of restaurants that partner with you, and
correct.
then concurrently to build out a database of companies that are looking for catering that you could be their go-to caterer.
That's correct.
And you're unique in the sense that you're not just one caterer, you're providing them opportunity to get literally any kind of food, Indian food,
That's
Chinese,
correct.
pizza, Mexican, Italian, doesn't matter. They can go to you for anything because you have
And,
access.
and also the nice thing, Derek, is they can do a combination. Like I've picked up at Maddie's on a Roll in Exton, and I've also picked up right down the street was Bono, and I got a combination of two different foods that the corporation wanted. So I could do that anywhere. I can get pizza, and if they like sandwiches at another restaurant, I can pick up both.
Okay, it makes sense. I understand that. What do you think is going to be the most challenging part of growth? What do you think the hardest part's going to be?
You know, Derek, I know. I knew right away. I'm in emergency mode, and I'll tell you why I'm in emergency mode.
Excuse me. Yes.
When I was, this had to be 15 years ago. I was in line at a Giant, and this little girl with her mom was behind me, maybe 20 years ago. And she asked her mom for the simplest of things on the checkout line, some potato chips or something. And her mom said, "Sweetheart, you know we can't afford that." And I looked back at her and I said, "Do you mind if I buy that for her?" And her mom said, "No, no, she can't have that." Okay. And I looked at the little girl, and of course, I understood it's her mom, and
Yep.
that was her decision. But you know what, Derek? Every friggin' day, I hear her voice.
Hmm.
Ask her mom for that simple food item that she couldn't have. So that's what got me crazy. So
She
to
couldn't
answer
have
your
it because she
question
couldn't afford
now,
it, you mean?
they couldn't afford it. They couldn't afford this bag of chips or
Wow.
whatever it was. I forget what it was, but I remember her. I remember her face. I remember her voice, and I hear her voice all the time.
It's like haunting.
Yeah, I just hear it, and I think I want to hear it, but because it keeps me motivated to keep going. Because this mission, I call it a mission. I'm sure you call yours a mission. It is a mission. It's to fight. It's to end food insecurity. And you're all over the place. I'm starting out in Chester County. But that's where it started. I'm on emergency mode. I'm always on emergency mode. Everyone else seems to be in next week mode. I
Mhm.
come home and say that to my wife all the time. Sometimes I have tears in my eyes. And that's just the way it is. You know, I can't explain it. I don't really understand why someone would not give me a chance. I work hard. Everybody with me that helps me works so hard. We make sure the food's picked up warm in warmer bags. We protect the food in the cars. We will deliver it on time. We take it out from the warmer bags and place it where they want it. No one does it better than us when it comes to securing the food from the restaurant to the event. We do a fabulous job. I teach everybody how to do it. I'm involved in all that. Most of my drivers are veterans.
That's
I'm a
awesome.
big veteran guy. They're veterans. I love veterans. I know veterans, and they need the extra money. They need a cause that they believe in. They feel good. In one of my posts, you'll see me working the Thanksgiving event, and I have my arm around a person behind the like where the food is. That's a veteran. That's my friend John. He served 20 years. He fought in Afghanistan. He fought in Iraq. That's my buddy. So that's him right there. Hello, John.
Mhm.
And I met John at the restaurant at the Bono Cafe, and we've been friends ever since. And I want to tell you, because John would never see this, John struggles. He struggles. He's a good person. He spent 20 years in the military fighting for our country, and he struggles. I'm not going to tell you the extent of his struggling, but he struggles. And if I can help him, I'm all for it. So most of the delivery fees that the corporation pays goes almost 100% to the drivers to help them with getting them more money and increasing their just their hope, increasing the hope, and it's working. John is doing a lot better.
Good.
Like, look at him; he's feeling good about himself. He's helping. He's not the most outgoing person because he has a pretty bad PTSD, but he's trying and he's enjoying himself. So I'm really proud of that. So that's the hardest thing, Derek,
Mhm.
is trying to get into the companies. I have companies where I've called them. I've talked to the person involved in the events. I told them about my mission. I've told them about everything. Can't get in. So my motto is give me a piece of your catering business. I don't need all of it. Give me a piece of it. I'll earn the rest. That's my motto, and that's what I believe in. I just need a piece of it.
John, you mentioned that 5:05 is the clock, and that's your time for the Lord. Talk about your relationship with the Lord and how that governs all of your decision making in life, and even giving back, tithing 10%. Talk about your faith.
Oh man, I haven't had the easiest of personal lives. I've had two wives that have died.
Oh my
My
God.
first wife, I had a 7-year-old child in Florida. She
Oh,
got hit by a car. I got that phone call, which no one wants to get. Uh, I then moved back. I grew up in this area. I love this area. For the first 14 years, I was here. And then my dad moved down to Florida. I married my high school sweetheart. I was in college. I went to college at Eastern Kentucky, and I came home after that, and we got married. We were married for like 7 8 years, and unfortunately, she lost her life in an accident. So my son wasn't doing well, and I moved back up to Pennsylvania because I had a good idea of Pennsylvania. I loved it up here as a child, And the Lord gave me another beautiful woman.
Mm.
Her name was Nancy. We got married in 1993. She died of leukemia in 2010. She had a 2-year fight with leukemia. She was a fighter, man. She was a fighter. And I would say my intense spirituality came after that death
Mm.
because I was grieving so intently
Mm.
that the Lord was my go-to. So I learned a lot. I learned a ton I knew a lot about the Bible. I knew a lot about Jesus Christ. And I was always my whole life a believer in Jesus. And then I went in a different route. I started doing primordial Tai Chi. I learned about energy. My wife is a Reiki master, and she is a spiritual coach. Her company is Awaken with Light. She's an amazing woman. Matter of fact, I was grieving. My wife died in 2010. I met Nancy. Her name was Nancy also, Nancy Gentle Boudry. I met in 2012, and we got married in 2015. So the Lord's been so good to me. He's given me 3 absolutely beautiful women. I did tell Nancy, the second Nancy, to really, when I asked her to marry me, I said, I'm going to give you some time. You know my track record with wives. So think about this. And but she's great, and I've been with her ever since, and she's a big supporter of whatever I do, and I'm a supporter of what she does. But I got into just all different stuff other than my Catholic upbringing. I got into, like I said, primordial Tai Chi. I learned how to move energy. I got into um, reading books. Oh my gosh, so many books. Wayne Dyer books, John Kabat-Zinn, uh, yoga, meditation. I got so into meditation. The 505 starts my meditation. After the meditation, I do the primordial Tai Chi in my basement.
Okay.
Okay. Or if it's summer, I do it outside in the grass. It's amazing outside in the grass. Uh, People look at it and you think you're crazy, but you know, but it's I have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ.
Amen.
I'm very close to Archangel Michael.
Yep.
He's helped me on occasions, which people wouldn't even understand. I've had miracles happen. I've had miracles happen, and it's been a journey. My legacy, though, and I've thought about this. When you're 66, you start thinking about these things, Derek. You're getting up there a little bit. My legacy will be catering with purpose. I'm just telling you. I'm the type of guy that doesn't give up. When you say no to me, I actually think you mean yes, but later on, because the purpose is there, the reasoning is there, everything is there. I just have to get out and get into corporate offices in Chester County. This is very simple, really. And I got to introduce myself. They got to know I exist. All of them, all of them. From the Hankins to the Bentleys to the Vanguards. There is so much corporate catering going on that I just I need a good piece of it. I'm going to get a good piece of it. Yeah. So that's it, man. I'm ready.
It's beautiful. It's a life that you've lived very intentionally, and you've had a lot of suffering, and you've
Yes.
managed to keep a really positive outlook in spite of these horrific setbacks. You should be commended for that.
Well, I'm a believer, Derek, of God's given, I think, few paths, and you sort of live your life and you go on this path.
Yep.
And I don't know the reason why these things have happened to me, but I do know that where I want to get to eventually.
Yep.
And that's upstairs. That's with the Almighty.
Yeah.
And he's blessed me with good people.
Hmm.
And I believe that we all have life lessons, and we come down here and we try to learn them the best we can. And I'm trying to learn. I try, of course, I'm a human being. I did go through my grieving, and I did ask God why. I don't understand. Talk to me, and things like that. He did talk to me, and so. But now is my time. I have so many beautiful grandchildren. I have 11 grandchildren. I have 7 beautiful kids. Some are from Nancy that died of leukemia. One was from Lori, from that had the accident, and I have 7 total. And this Nancy, I brought in 2 stepchildren. I love them all. I love them all, and they've already given me like 10 grandchildren. I haven't even started. I have so many more.
What
So I'm a very blessed individual. I'm very blessed.
you live
Very
your
blessed.
life. You live your life with a lot of gratitude. That's very very, it's on you, on your sleeve.
Well, thank you.
You can see that.
I try.
What would
Yeah,
you, what words, let me ask you a question. What would you give it? What advice would you give to somebody that right now is struggling with their relationship with God? Maybe they don't believe in God. Maybe they don't know God. Maybe they think God has abandoned them. Jesus says on the cross, my God, why have you abandoned me?"
yeah, yeah,
And obviously he doesn't mean that. It's just the human part of him
yeah,
that he was in despair. But people really are struggling with that, John.
yeah.
What advice would you give them? Because you've seen a lot of suffering in your life and you have remained rock solid. You've come back to it. What advice would you give to somebody that's in that type of despair?
Well, first of all, let yourself grieve.
Mm,
I mean, don't expect to bounce back immediately. Uh, let's just take this past weekend. I had my son and my daughter-in-law here with some grandkids, and I always say prayer. This hurts me a little bit, but some of my kids, they've sort of swayed. They still believe in God, but they've swayed a little bit. And hey, they're in my house. We're saying prayers, and I'm thanking the Lord. And my daughter-in-law said, we just don't have time to say prayers at dinner. And that shook me to the core.
mm,
And I said, well, Amy, it doesn't take any time. It really doesn't take any time. It took us for this prayer. And then we thank God for something. Everybody goes around and thanks. That's sort of like my ritual. I would say when you're going through the toughest moments of your life
yep.
is when you need someone. And that someone is Jesus Christ.
Mm,
I could not have gotten through my pain oh God, when my wife with leukemia died. They put her under, they said that she won't open her eyes again. I have the rosary. I'm praying, man. I'm praying. I'm kneeling at her bedside. She hasn't spoken in 24 hours, but she's still alive. And she opens her eyes, almost sits up, and looks at me and said, "Thank you.
mm.
I love you." Falls back down and never opens her eye again. God gave her that moment. Jesus gave her that moment to say thank you to me. Whew. Man, that was strong. God, that was just, that was strong. So I guess I'd say don't blame things on God.
Mm.
People, I could have blamed God. Why? You're not with me. But that's what I needed. I needed the comforting of Archangel Michael to put his wings around me and comfort me. And I felt his wings. I did. I did. And one little story. After my wife died, I was driving in Ben Salem, and I was doing something you shouldn't do, and that was texting someone while you're driving. And I looked up. I should have hit this car. I should have hit it. It was impossible not to hit it. Derek, you're not going to believe this, but I went through the trunk of the car. My front end went through the trunk of the car and pulled over real quick to the right side of the road. No damage. The person stopped, got out of the car, walked over, and looked at me. And I went like this, you know, like, I don't know, but I did know. He gave me one chance. He gave me a chance. He said, John, I'm going to help you, because everything we're looking at is just matter. It's just atoms. And he made the trunk of that car to where I didn't hit it. And a lot of people can't believe that, but it happened. The person that I was going to hit knew it happened. She got out of her car and looked at me all phased. I'm a big believer. Miracles do happen. I'm a big believer of, miracles happen all the time. I fixed engines by spiritual praying with Archangel Michael. My wife that died of leukemia had a car, a BMW, and I gave it to my 15-year-old child at the time as a remembrance of her mom, and the engine blew. When you go through leukemia, Derek, you don't have any money left. I mean, talking millions. You're picking up a medication that you have to pay $15,000 for. I mean, it's terrible. But I told her I can't get this car fixed right now, Sean. I just can't do it. And I was just parked in the driveway. I started praying to Archangel Michael. Brought it to the dealership. They said, you can't drive this car. The seventh and eighth cylinder's blown. I went back. I looked up. I Googled, I think, which saint fixes cars? Archangel Michael. I prayed like you've never seen a person pray. Do you know, I would go to CVS, I'd walk in and I'd go in there and I'd say, Archangel Michael, I'm going to go in and get a couple things. While I'm gone, will you work on the car for me? It was actually funny. But do you know that BMW took a drive to New York 3 months later? I took it back to the BMW dealer that told me the engine was blown. They kept it 3 days. I finally had to go back and say, guys, I know what happened. I know the seventh and eighth cylinder now is perfectly clean. There's nothing wrong with it. And I picked it up and they were just standing there like, oh, they didn't know what happened. Wow. So yeah, a lot of things. Just believe, man. Just believe. Like I was blessed with a beautiful woman to enter my life. Just believe. I believe in catering with purpose. I leave every morning. I pray to God. I say, Jesus, when I walk into these offices, walk in with me. You walk in. Everything I do goes through Jesus.
What would you say to somebody though, John, who's not getting that affirmation or that reinforcement? They did hit that car, or their engine didn't get repaired,
Yeah.
or whatever it might have been. You've had some amazing experiences, but what would you say to somebody? What words of encouragement would you give to somebody that hasn't had that? It's better now. Like they don't always get what we pray for. How would you say, like, to them, keep the faith even though you didn't get what you prayed for? Because you did pray for your wife to get better, I'm assuming, and she didn't, but you still retained the faith. So what
Yeah.
could you say to someone that says, I pray, but I don't get what it's like? God's not a genie, but what words would you give of encouragement to somebody that's praying and they still don't see any change?
I understand. First of all, you have to believe. You have to have the foundation of belief. I would say, give it a shot. I'd say your human intuition, your human self says to blame someone. Blame someone. And how can there be a God? How can God do this? How can God do that? They also don't understand there's an evil side to everything. And it's like a war. There's like some people call him the devil, black energy, dark energy, whatever name you put on either of these entities, God or the black energy. God can be called source. Sometimes books call source God. God's just a name. Uh, Jesus' real name is Yeshua. You know, I would say don't blame anyone, just believe and go forward with a belief that give it a try because it will come to fruition if you give it a try and make sure that the dark forces, which you're blaming over here, which is source, God, Jesus, all these good white light, all this bright light, and then you have this darkness over here. I don't think the light caused the problem. It didn't cause my wife to get leukemia. Even my wife was a great person. She was a third degree black belt.
Wow.
When she was diagnosed with leukemia, Saturday she had her third degree black belt test and passed it with flying colors. The doctor that we went to on Tuesday, we rushed her to the hospital. We rushed her. Now this is a 3-day period from the most gruesome test you can go through to rushing to the hospital. Who do you think got her through that test? Her? The doctor said it was impossible. Her white blood count was 0. She had no energy. She had nothing. Yet on Tuesday, we're rushing her. An ambulance picked her up at the house. When we went to the doctors, an ambulance came when they got the results and picked her up. How can that happen? How did she get that done? How did that third degree black belt test get performed to a level that was unbelievable? Breaking boards, and if she would have gotten cut, she had no platelets. She would have bled out. So if I use my wife, and I've had a lot of instances to see things like that, so I guess that is why I'm such a high believer. And I know when Nancy died 2 years later, I didn't blame it on God.
Yep.
Because I've seen what happened along the way. So I don't even know if I've answered your question, but I would say go to a church, go to hang around good people, positive people, and just move forward, because my goal is to live the best life I can possibly live and go to heaven. That's my God. That's my goal. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, maybe I'll learn it later, why I was given 2 wives and all this bad things earlier in my life. I guess I'll have to ask Jesus when I sit down with him at the very end and we look over my life and we look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'll have to say, well, why did I have to go through this? I don't know. Yeah. But all I know is I love random acts of kindness. I'm a big believer in if that one email you sent to RAOK, random acts of kindness. 444 is my favorite number. 11 is Archangel Michael. So that's what that stands for. Big random acts of kindness. Everywhere I go, I talk to God and I say, God, that person over there, real soon when we get Catering with Purpose going and this money starts flowing around, random acts of kindness, some of that money is going to go to helping that person right over there. And it's going to be so much fun.
I do.
It's going to be so much fun. And Derek, I love your casserole program.
Oh, great.
We used to do that with Saint Agnes and Saint Philip's and James. Church did that. I don't know what the laws were then, but we used to deliver the casseroles to Saint Philip's and James in Exton, they used to put them in a freezer. They might have brought it down to Kensington like you do,
Yep.
possibly. That was 15 years ago. I don't know what the laws are now, but you know, but I love that program. Yeah, yeah. You're doing great, man. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thanks for saying that. Well, we're proud of you and we're excited. This is an innovative idea, and I hope that this year, 2026, brings much success and blessings to you and to your company because I think
Thank you, Derek.
we need
Thank
more
you.
of that desire to put Christ first and serve with a authentic heart. I always talk about heart posture,
Yeah,
and heart posture really to me is spiritual. It's how you approach a situation. Anyone can do anything at any given time, but the way we do anything is the way we do everything. So if we're doing
yeah,
it with a heart of compassion and a heart of love and humility, whether it's a professional job, spending time
yeah.
with family, visiting a homeless shelter, that heart posture, that intentionality is key. And at the end of the day, John, only you know what's in your heart.
Yeah.
I know what's in my heart. So you could do an act, a quote unquote act of kindness or act of good or an act of bad, but only you know where that act's coming from in your heart. And I think the intentionality that you have with your company is really respectable, and I really
Thank you.
nothing but success with it.
Thank you. And I can always use restaurants to come on board with the mission. I can always use corporations to give us a try. We won't disappoint. So if any of you out there are a restaurant manager, it's a great cause. You'll want to be. I have a lot of connections with radio, TV. I have a lot of connections with all the sports complexes down there. So I want to start this, and then once it develops, it becomes something really great. I want to be on TV. I want them interviewing not only me, but all the restaurants that are part of this what we're putting together. So there's a lot of advantages to coming on board because when you're with something this good
Yep.
and it's going to do this many good things, you want to have your name on that board as you were a founding restaurant when we put this together. It's easy to come on board with an established business.
Right.
But what about the businesses that are created initially? Those are the people that really are the special ones, the ones that took the gamble and said, "Hey, I'm like Emily at the Citadel. I don't think she, I don't think she'd ever used anybody else, and I love her to death. So please, give me a try, and Derek, I'll keep working with you, and I believe in what you're doing, and I'm excited about 2026 with you.
Amen. That's great. Well, this has been a privilege, John. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to chat.
Thank you for putting this together.
Yeah, it was nice. It was really a deeper episode. We typically don't get a chance to get as deep, and I appreciate that. So thanks for being
Thank
vulnerable.
you.
I hope that your words inspire others.
I hope so too.
What a great example. You're following God for the right reasons. You're not expecting anything out of it, and you didn't lose your faith when you went through your biggest trials and tribulations. I mean,
My faith got stronger. It really did.
what a
It
testament.
got it got stronger. I don't even know how it got stronger, but it did.
Oh,
Yeah, and my goal this year is to even get stronger with my faith. I don't think you can ever get too strong.
please keep me in your prayers because you're praying so much. I could use them.
Yeah, I will.
I
I
appreciate
will. I pray for everybody.
that's
I pray for everybody. So everybody's getting prayed for.
amen to that.
Yes.
Well, John, I appreciate you being on the F4 Hunger Awareness Show. For those
Thank
that are
you.
listening today, we are available to be listened to, heard on YouTube and Spotify, iTunes, iHeart, anywhere you would listen to your podcast. Love you to subscribe to us, follow us. We have a lot of exciting plans for the new year. Most importantly, though, is to keep the focus on the people that are suffering and struggling. So, John, I think that's what we'll continue to do, working together with your
Yes.
organization and with ours, and we'll focus on what we can do to love and serve people with kindness and respect.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you, John, for your time today.
Appreciate you, Derek.
Appreciate you too.